Recording in progress.
To this sitting. In accordance with the Council Rule 229, Sub-Rule 1, there will be no notices of motion or motions without notice. Before we could proceed with our questions, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome the ministers from the Social Services, Peace and Security clusters, specifically the Minister of Higher Education and the Minister of Home Affairs, as well as the permanent delegates, the MECs who have joined in, the special delegates, as well as SALGA representatives to the House. I'd also like to remind delegates that in terms of Rule 229 of the Council, the time to reply by the ministers to a question is 5 minutes, and only 4 supplementary questions will be allowed per question. And I'm being informed that the parties who would like to make the follow-up questions have indicated as such. I do have a list in front of me. The member who then asked the initial question would be the first one to be afforded an opportunity to ask a supplementary question. And the time for that supplementary question allocated is 2 minutes. And accordingly, the minister will then be provided 4 minutes to respond to the supplementary question, of which the should emanate from the initial question that has been asked to the minister. Having said once again, Honorable Lamela, welcome you in this.
Good afternoon, honourable members. It appears that the chair of the NCRP is having some difficulty with her connection. So I will just step into the breach briefly. I'll now call on the Honourable Minister of Higher Education to respond to question number 10, which was asked by the Honourable Mokwele. Minister, you have 5 minutes for response to the question.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chairperson. Yes, government introduced the NSFAS loan scheme in 2024 to extend support to students whose combined household income is above 350,000 and not more than 600,000 a year. This was an important policy shift, which students above the bursary threshold but unable to finance higher education from household income were brought into a public NSFAS loan mechanism. The scheme was initially capitalized with 3.8 billion, comprising 1.5 billion from the National Skills Fund and 2.3 billion from the Sector Education and Training Authorities, as SETAs. There has been progress, although implementation has not yet reached the scale intended. NSFAS reports show that in 2025, it received 10,186 loan applications and approved 2,686. And so for 2026, the latest position is that 53,575 applications were received, of which 3,102 applicants have been assessed as eligible, subject to distinguish between an application and eligibility decision, a signed loan agreement, and an actual disbursement. The increase in applications is encouraging, but the conversion of eligible applicants into concluded and disbursed loans remain too low and too slow. Implementation has been affected by outstanding institutional memoranda of agreement. And so the finalization of the loan agreement form, qualification and document verification, and the timely submission of registration information by institutions. 7 institutions have signed the required agreement, while engagement with the remaining institutions continue. Our department and NSFAS are therefore taking corrective action to finalize the outstanding contractual instruments and institutional agreements, reconcile the complete 2024 to 2026 application to disbursement position, improve communication with students and institutions, but also review the eligibility and application process so that it is easier for qualifying students to complete. And so the honest question and position is that government has established a funding instrument for the missing middle, and demand for it has grown, but it has not achieved yet the operational maturity or reach original. Or reach which was originally intended. So our immediate task is to convert eligibility into actual funding more quickly, while the broader work on a stable and sustainable student funding model, continues.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable Makwele, do you have a supplementary question to ask?
Thanks very much, House Chair. Honourable Minister, let me also thank you for indeed answering my first question correctly. Honourable Minister, my follow-up question is in this fashion. In light of the escalating cost of student accommodation and the competing needs to accommodate the missing middle, has any feasibility study on the sustainability of free higher education into the distant future being conducted? And then if not, why not? And if so, what are the relevant details, and whether the department has considered any alternative funding model for the deserving students from poor families who are currently not eligible to NSFAS funding, Minister? Thanks very much, House Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mukwili, and my sincere apology for the network glitches. I then hand over to the Minister to respond to the question.
Thank you very much, and
Good to
welcome
see you
back,
with a smile. You look so confused, Minister. I'm in rural areas.
Yeah, I'm also
You know
rural,
where I am.
Yeah, I know where you are. I'm also in Ugu, in KZN.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, House Chairperson. The short answer to Honorable Mukwele's follow-up question is that the sustainability of student funding is under review. And, yes, there is no completed post-2017 feasibility study. And so when that information before me does not, identify one. But the policy change is broader than maintaining a single instrument. And I think we need to be able to speak about a progressive funding system that protects bursary support for poor and working class students, that also improves, the missing middle loan, and mobilizes an appropriate contribution from the state, from institutions, from employers, and other partners, without transferring unaffordable debt, to families. So a broader funding model work must test fiscal affordability. Obviously, we must look at projected enrollment growth. We must also look at the real cost of tuition and accommodation and income verification, the administrative capacity of an institution that should run something like this, a fair loan and repayment, agreements. Those are some of the factors that we will have to look at for a comprehensive student funding model. A student from a poor or working class household who meets the applicable NSFAS bursary criteria should be supported, through the bursary scheme. There shouldn't be any question about that. But for students outside the standard bursary criteria, I think the available routes should probably include NSFAS missing middle loan, university financial aid. We have, profession-specific bursaries such as Funza Lushaka. Some of our SETAs have been, putting together a lot of money towards student bursaries. The National Skills Fund itself, I think, are setting aside about R1 billion for PhDs, in postgrads. So there are multiple. Some may argue insufficient, but there are multiple interventions that cover students that are outside of the NSFAS coverage and missing middle. So the idea has to be, how do we put all of this thing together for a single, type of intervention? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. We are now moving to the next follow-up question in the name of the Democratic Alliance. I've not been finished with the honorable member who will be asking the question. If I may hand over to the member who's assigned by Democratic Alliance.
It's Honorable Adrianse, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Adrianse. You may proceed.
Honorable Minister, you're almost there answering my question, but for many years, government has acknowledged the plight of the missing middle. Yet, thousands of capable students still fall outside of the perimeter of the support of NSFAS. So when can we expect your department to present this concrete, funded solution, rather than continuing to leave these students trapped between being too rich for aid and too poor to study?
Okay.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Minister Adrianse. You may respond, Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much, House Chairperson. This is so our next step is cabinet, and our intention is to ensure that we roll out elements of a sustainable student model, funding model from next year, but it will take much longer, to mature into a student. A student funding model that is fit for our demands as a country. But our main target is 2027. There has to be elements of a sustainable student funding model that is quite inclusive and that covers all of these people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We are now proceeding to Honorable Mampuru to ask the Minister.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings, Minister. Minister, just go straight to the point. What steps have you taken to completely overhaul this current failing debt-inducing loan schemes?
Chairperson, order, Chairperson.
Honorable Mampuru, can you hold on? Honorable Nonkonyana, are you rising on which row?
Yes, I'm rising. Honorable, the Honorable is not showing his face.
He does, Honorable Nonkonyane. Maybe you've not seen him. He did, we saw him.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Thank you.
You can proceed, Honorable Mampuru.
Yeah, I think Honorable Nonkonyana needs eye-inducing glasses so that he'll be able to see.
Ask your question.
Old age is
Ask
creeping.
your question.
No. Ask Honorable Mampuru. Honorable
Thank you,
Mampuru.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think my time will be
Honorable
added
Mampuru,
after.
Can I come in? Can I come in, please? Can you open your video so that we can see you as you did earlier on, please? Thank you. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I hope my time will be added because Honorable Nonkonyana wasted my time. Minister, as I've indicated, what steps have you taken to completely overhaul this current failing debt-inducing loan scheme so that it may be turned into a fully funded, non-repayable bursary allocation before the commencement of the next academic year. I'm asking this because following your recent budget briefing where you acknowledge that the government 3.8 billion missing middle loan scheme failed to reach its target with only a fraction of eligible students successfully funded, how do you justify the continued commercialization of higher education through a loan-centric scheme rather than fulfilling the constitutional mandate of free higher education for the poor and the working class, the children of the poor and the working class? Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Mampuru. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, House Chairperson. I don't know how Honorable Mampuru calls this a loan-centric student funding scheme when, you know, about, close to 800,000 students are getting access to higher education for free. Fewer of those have now, we've opened up doors for them in terms of applications for the missing middle. So this is not a loan-centric student funding model. It is a fee-free higher education model, which also has introduced measures to, ensure that it caters for what has been referred to as the missing middle. Yes, it may not have picked up the way in which, we have anticipated. And as I said, that there are a few things that we obviously also need to fix at the NSFAS to ensure that it can competently, disburse loans to to students who falls within that category of the missing middle. There are obviously going to be a whole range of revamp of that particular loan, scheme, because we believe it has to serve students ultimately. That number is too small, the 3,000. The initial demand was into the 40,000s. 40s of thousands of students who, would have potentially taken up this loan. So definitely for the, for the academic year 2027, our plan is to ensure that we have an effective working loan scheme at the NSFAS, but that we also have a comprehensive student funding model. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Feni. Honorable Feni, you may proceed with your follow-up question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Is this a question 11? A follow-up on question 11?
Question number 10.
Or question number 10?
Yes, which
Or
has
with
to
regard-
do with the funding of students.
No, with regard
The
to
very first question that's been asked by Honorable Mukweli.
yes, I don't have question on that one, Honorable Chair.
No, thank you very much. We are now proceeding to question 9 that has been asked by Honorable Du Plessis to the Minister regarding the measures that he has put in place in ensuring that we retain the students in higher education, which is necessitated by the estimates that have been made with regards to the dropout rate amongst the first-year student. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, House Chairperson. I think we're referring to question 19. The Honourable Member estimates of a 50 to 60% national first-year dropout rate is not supported by the latest published departmental data. And it would be interesting to find, to check whether the Honourable Member has found their evidence of 50 to 60, because because it may conflate first year dropouts with cumulative, non-completion, or with rates in particular institutions, programs, or student groups. I think it may need some further clarity. But our own data reports that amongst first-time entering students in 3-year degrees in the 2020 core, 8.6% of contact students and 30.3% of distance students had dropped out, after 1 year. And these rates vary by mode, by qualification, and also by institution. It does not obviously minimize the serious problem of long-term completion and delayed, completion. Those are, we jocularly refer to them as lifelong students who need to be encouraged to graduate out of our universities. But the first measure is financial and material support. And as far as bursaries cover tuition and approved living, learning material, and this is meant as to cope first year, that kind of wraparound support. The second measure is obviously academic support, with universities having implemented extended curriculum programs and foundation provision for students who require additional, academic program. Our university capacity development program and grant also supports make advising, tutoring, mentoring, and improved teaching. So those are some of the, points in that. The third intervention, is earlier. The third measure is earlier intervention, where universities are strengthening orientation, first-year experience programs, and early warning system using attendance, assessment, and learning platforms, information like MOOCs and so on. And so referral to academic, financial, or psycho support also form part of all of this if we believe that the student is disengaged. The first measure being interpersonal support, which includes counseling, mental health services, disability support, health and wellness program.
We've lost you, Minister. Your network seems not to be stable.
Often, is that.
Yes, you are getting better. If you can just try and get a better spot, just try and shift a bit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
we can hear you now.
I was saying, yes, I was saying that, our position is that the retention challenge has been solved. The national first year rate is slower than the estimate in the question that has been asked by Honorable du Plessis. But every preventable dropout for us is a loss to the student, to the family, but also to the country. And so access without success is incomplete transformation. And we need to ensure that each and every one of our students is supported so that they succeed.
Thank you very much, Minister, for the response. Honorable du Plessis, you may ask your supplementary question.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Minister, thank you for your question. You have covered it largely. I do need to say it is verified as of 1.5 years ago by a business tech study done that it is between 50% and 60%. I would, however, appreciate if you could elaborate on what it is now and what improvement there is. However, the follow-up question that I do have, as you mentioned, psychosocial support. However, there are very many students who claim that that the psychosocial support that should be available on campus is not available on campus. On which campuses have you done in order to ensure that the psychosocial support is there to minimize and ensure that we retain as many students as possible to complete higher education? Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Honorable du Plessis, meaning the minister has given you the real-time response to the question. So, Minister, you may further clarify the matter.
Yes, thank you. I think Honorable du Plessis would do better, I think, to rely on our statistics, and I'm happy to share the link, and the most and latest available data for her future reference. Firstly, secondly, in almost every university, there are sections that gives professional mental health support. Every university without an exception. And if you show me any university or any of their campus that doesn't have that, I think we will have to work towards ensuring that that happens. So that's the first. The second thing is that we also have Higher Health, which is an agency of the Department of Higher Education, which has done tremendous work in recruiting students to work as peer educators, to work with their fellow students, to give them the support they need, to advise them on issues around HIV/AIDS, wellness, and so on and so forth, but which also has an additional support, which is professional psychosocial support. And you can find Higher Health on any of the campuses, or if you ask any of the student, in fact, one of the student leaders has suggested something which we need to take up, being that the contacts of Higher Health must be behind each and every student card of each and every student because of the kind of service that they provide, which is something that I think we need to take up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up is from Honorable Mokwele.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. Let me switch off my video. Thanks very much, Chair. Chair, in the main, the Minister nearly covered me on the question that I wanted to ask, but maybe for the benefit of this sitting chair, maybe my follow-up question to the Minister is that, Honorable Minister, has the department conducted any diagnostic study of the underlying causes of high dropout rates among the first-year students? And then if not, why not? And then if so, what are the relevant details? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mokwele. Over to you.
Thank you. Look, we maintain HATMIS, which is the HAMIS, which is the Higher Education Management Information System, which gives us constant update. How are students performing? What programs are they doing? Where are they lagging? And which then also means that if we can target a particular university or a particular faculty or a particular school or something like that, we are then able to make the necessary intervention. So that data is available, and as I said, a little bit different from what Honorable Duplessis has indicated, but it is important because it constantly reminds us of the need to continuously support students so that they can be academically successful. Thank you so much for that question.
Thank you so much, Minister. Can I then request Honorable Mampuru to ask his follow-up question?
Thank you, Chair. And let me welcome the response that Minister gave to the question of Honorable Mokwele. It also covered partially my question. However, let me pose this question to the Minister to say, what further assessment has he conducted to determine whether some of the challenges which might participate into the dropout of a student might be that of financial exclusion, lack of student accommodation, academic support programs, or mental services? If such assessment was conducted, what were the outcomes? And if not, what is he going to do to ensure that he intervene in such challenges to cap the number of students who are
We've lost you, Honorable Mampuru.
Thank you, Chair. We have
He was done.
of net. Yeah, it's the issue of network. Yeah, I think the whole country have a problem of network. As I said, I was saying to the Minister that he partially responded to my question. However, I believe it is important for me to further raise this question to say, was there any further assessment that he conducted to determine those causes which compel students to drop out of the system, in particular those who are facing financial exclusion, lack of accommodation, and academic support, and also mental health services. If such assessment was made, Minister, what were the conclusive outcomes? And if not, what steps is he going to take to address each and every challenges to improve student retention in higher education? Thank you, Minister, and also you, Chair.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much. Over to you, Honourable Minister.
Two things, and I mean, this is obviously a new question, but firstly, maybe that kind of a study is due. The last time we did this study was in 2017 through Higher Health, which I'm referring, I referred to earlier, and maybe that study or survey was they did at the time, but the study, we might have to, expand the variables that they will have to look at, because at the time they'd looked at student wellness and mental health and HIV/AIDS, and so we can extend that to include, these factors. But the second point, which is a very important point, is that around the same period, an independent study was conducted by one of the universities, and I think I'll have to look for the study and pass it on to, Honorable Mampuru, which showed that because of the intervention we've made through the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, many of the students who are performing much better in our campuses are those who are financially assisted by the state. Which also speaks against the whole notion that students who are on student support, financial support, would not take up that opportunity quite seriously. So that's a very important indicator. But I suppose that we'll have to check if a study that shows what Honorable Mampuru is asking for doesn't exist, but I think it would give us an interesting picture of what changes have happened since the introduction of fee-free higher education. We have a glimpse of where we are and the kind of impact, but to the extent that Honorable Mampuru is asking for, I'm not sure if that study exists. If it does, we'll send it to him. If it doesn't, we'll have to work on one.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, and thank you for responding to the question. It was indeed a new question that has been posed by Honourable Mampuru. Nonetheless, thank you for your response. And the next follow-up question is from Honourable Mokweli. I know that he did pose a question earlier on. He was standing for the member of the ANC then. So this is his turn to ask his question, if he so wishes. Honorable Mokweli.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. Chair, maybe unless maybe the minister wanted to elaborate further. From my side, I should think that I'm covered by the response from the minister, and I thank you.
Thank you so much. We are now proceeding on the next question on the order paper, which is question number 11. Honorable Minister, it's with regards to the accountability of college university councils. Over to you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson, and to Honorable Fanny. Yes, councils of public universities and colleges exercise important governance responsibilities, but institutional autonomy obviously does not mean immunity from accountability. Our department monitors governance across the post-school education and training system through statutory reporting. We also look at the audited annual financial statements. We look at the AG's reports, council and management reports. We also look at governance, assessment. We do site visits, just as members of parliament also do. But we also do targeted investigations where we believe that there are risks. So for universities, this oversight is exercised under the Higher Education Act of 1997, together with the regulations for reporting by public higher education institutions. And so for TVET colleges, it is exercised under the Continuing Governance under the Continuing Education and Training Act of 2006. We have also introduced governance performance indicators for TVET colleges, supported by a council assessment tool, so that weaknesses can be identified earlier and addressed through formal remedial plans. The accountability approach is progressive, but it's also firm, and where monitoring identifies a weakness, the first response may include requiring additional information, setting a remedial plan with clear timeframes and monitoring its implementation. And where the failure is serious or persistent, the minister may use the applicable statutory powers to issue a directive or appoint an independent assessor or investigator, as is the case now with the investor or vendor, or appoint an administrator, as we just did. I think the last one was Mangosuthu University of Technology, to restore lawful and effective governance. Now, consequence management must also distinguish between correcting an institution and holding individuals accountable. So an intervention or administration protects the institution and its student. It does not on its own dispose of the accountability of individual council members or executives. And where, there has been evidence that support individual action, the relevant authority, do consider disciplinary proceedings, go through the whole legal process, recovering losses, civil action, disqualification from future council service where legislation permits, or even referment, to law enforcement and other competent bodies. And I think, as you said, with regards to the College of Cape Town, this is something that we've done, where I've appointed a stabilization and governance support team to investigate its affairs, and due to its report, we then appointed an administrator acting under Section 46 of the Continuing Act, and they've done exactly that: refer the matters for further criminal investigation, engage with the AG, do all of those things, so that there has to be consequence management for each and every one person who we believe may have, in one way or another, committed illegal activities against any of our public institutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. Honorable Fanny, you may ask your follow-up question.
Thank you very much once again, Honorable Chair. Thank you also to the Honorable Minister with the response. Honorable Minister, I'm sure you will agree that the persistence of governance and accountability, lapses in our higher education system, is not about the leadership issues, but relates to the challenges of fundamental transformation of the sector. In this regard, has the department considered the coherent and integrated vision on the transformation of the sector in the medium and long term? And then also, if not, why not? And if so, where are the relevant details? Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Fanny. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Fanny. Let me give you this picture. So 26 universities, each one of them with a council, 50 TVET colleges, each one of them with a council, 21 seaters, each one of them with a council. We have got, I think, about 3 or 4 quality councils. So you have this multiplicity of institutions, all of them, having chairs of boards and CEOs, accounting authorities, executive authorities. You're bound to have challenges, which is what we've seen. So it's not just about leadership. In some instances, it is. Chairpersons of councils wanting to, get into the way of, the vice chancellor, or in some instances, CEOs of SETAs wanting to undermine chairpersons of those SETAs. So it could be around leadership. It could be around people serving their own interest. It could also be about, lack of capacity of the people that have been deployed. So the CV does not relate to, the individual. So it could be a whole range of things. One of the things that we've been looking at in the department, together with some of our universities, is the establishment of, a capacity building institute that, based in a university, that will help us to give leadership and governance support to each one of our councils, but also to, to the leaders of our institutions. We really have to rethink, with all of this many institutions that we're governing in the PSAT system, we have to think around how we, can rationalize, some of these governance structures. But I suppose that's an issue for another day, and especially for yourself as members of the of Parliament and of the NCOP.
No, thank you very much, Minister. You left us with an assignment. Honorable Mukai, you may ask the Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Refilwe Tsweni-Tsipane, our chairperson in the NCOP. Good afternoon also to colleagues. Good afternoon to the Minister for availing yourself for this question session. Chair, indeed, the Minister gave us that assignment to relook these matters and to delve deeper, into the challenges that the TVET sector is facing. But I just want to find out from the Minister, given the magnitude of these irregular appointments, questionable procurement, and dysfunctional governance get this far, especially in the government-controlled TVET institution, such as the case with the College of Cape Town, the Moteo Artisan College in Bloemfontein, before this decisive, intervention occurred. What could be some of those issues, underlying issues, prompt these irregular appointments and questionable procurement? So just to give us a picture in terms of how did we arrive where we are right now. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mukai. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, House Chairperson and Honorable Mukai. I mean, we need to remember that our most of our accounting authorities are a combination of people who possess the expertise, but also people who come from constituencies, So in our councils, we, have people who sit there on the basis of the positions they occupy in the university. And there are those who sit there on the basis of their expertise, your SRCs, your unions, and so forth. But they are expert in their constituencies and in their interests. So given all of that, you're bound to have some of the challenges that, we have. The solution is obviously not to exclude people from participating in these democratic structures, because they're democratic structures. But I think the ultimate objective is, to identify what are the persistent causes of, governance collapse in this institution, and how do we, tailor-make some interventions, for SETAs, for universities, for TVET Council. I mean, one of the major problems, you're absolutely right, that we have TVET councils positioned where they are. Some of the TVET colleges being unequal if you compare all of them. It's because of the the different type of leadership that each of the institutions have. So leadership does play, an important role, and we think we need to support leadership. But one of the bigger challenges is exactly that. Do we have proper councils in place? Do they know what they're supposed to be doing? Are they, keeping within the framework of the law and allowing managers of institutions to manage? And the relationship also goes the other way around. But this is definitely something that we have to consistently be on the lookout for. Thank you so much.
Much appreciated, Minister. Honorable Gerike.
Yes, good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon, comrades, Minister Buti Manamela. I think you are youthful enough to fight this question that I bring to you now. Minister, why do you remain purely reactive, relying on slow-moving, independent assessors and administrators after the events instead of enforcing permanent, real-time oversight mechanisms to monitor and evaluate council decisions? And how do you justify the ongoing retention of compromised council and executive members at the College of Cape Town who oversaw severe institutional failures, and what specific steps are being taken to blacklist these individuals from ever serving in the South African higher education sector again? Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Gerike. Over to you, Minister.
Thank you very much. So the council at the College of Cape Town has been dissolved consequent to the appointment of the administrator. That's the first. The second thing is that administration is an available instrument to be utilized in instances where we believe there's, governance failure. It's not something that we just willed out. And thirdly, we do as much as we can to ensure that we give support, to each of our institutions. Let me give an example, for instance, with the NSFAS. Before we placed the institution under administration, we had consistent engagement with them. I had several meetings, I think about 5 or 6 meetings with the board. The team in the department had several meetings with the board itself, with the senior managers, in a very short space of time, in under a year. And the intention was to provide support. And I think where we came to realize that we are finding ourselves with no movement. Some intervention has to be made. So legislators saw it in their wisdom to introduce administration as an important element in cases where normal governance fail. The trick, however, is to ensure that we have clear guidelines, clear parameters of operation, but also a clear lifespan for each of the administration, but also to keep a watch on them. I can assure you that whatever issues that the administrator at the College of Cape Town has found, they will take those issues up, with the necessary law enforcement and authorities. Thank you very much, Honourable Member.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Mhlongo. Bengifuna ukukubongelela njengominister izolo manje ngikhohliwe uthi intombi yakuphi emhlophe ngiphelela lapho. Over to you. Honorable Mhlongo. Honorable Mhlongo. It looks like she's got network challenges. She has just been kicked off by the network.
It must be a sabotage, Chairperson.
Yile zibongo zami ezingaphelelanga yabo. Yizo lezi ezimshiya enkingeni. Angenzanga ijustice kulezi bongo. That's why elahlekile. Honorable Mhlongo, are you back? Is there anyone who can stand in for her in the MK party? If not, I'm afraid she'll have to forfeit this question. However, she's more than welcome to send a follow-up question to the minister directly for a written response to whatever she may have wanted to say to the minister. Having said that, thank you, Minister, from my side. I now hand over to Honorable Modise. He will take from here. Thank you so much. Over to you, Honorable Modise.
Siyabonga Sihlalo. I hope I'm audible. Minister, I hope you're not in the car because you keep on doing this when you speak. I don't know what's wrong. I was worried because these things are recorded and someone will be watching it. I'm like, what's wrong with the minister? So let's go straight to it, Minister. Let's take question number 3, which will be asked by Honorable Kennedy from Limpopo. Honorable Kennedy.
Or maybe should I start with reading the response or?
Yes, please give us the response. Sorry, she will do the follow-up.
All right. Then the follow-up. Yes, thank you so much, Chairperson. Yes, I have been informed of the challenges in the management and accreditation of NSFAS funded student accommodation. The department does not regard the accreditation of unsafe or uninhabitable accommodation as a major administrative failure because this places students at risk and undermines confidence in the student funding system. However, accommodation must be assessed against the applicable minimum norms and standards and the NSFAS accreditation requirements. Monitoring includes fiscal inspection, grading, verification of approved bed capacity, and also the relevant health, safety, and municipal compliance documentation. Complaints from students and institutions must trigger re-inspection. So if any student complain anywhere in the country and that complaint reaches the NSFAS, there has to be re-inspection. A provider may be suspended or their accreditation withdrawn where the required standard is not met. We have not, through the NSFAS, commenced with a national audit of previously accredited accommodation supported by institutions and student representatives. Secondly, the weakness also is that fragmented responsibility and incomplete building level data have made it difficult to confirm in real time that every funded property remains compliant after initial, accreditation. The audit must therefore establish a single verified property register, dealing with ownership, with capacity, and all those other points that we have mentioned. The NSFAS has not yet produced a verified building level count of properties that were accredited despite being non-compliant since 2023. So we don't have that actual number that the honorable member is asking for. But the picture that we have is that about 63,000 students are being funded in accommodation recorded as non-accredited. Now, this is important. There are areas where we do not have at all greenfields, accommodation that could be regarded as qualifying the minimum standards. So this obviously speaks to the work that we need to do as the department in ensuring that we have student accommodation spread across wherever student accommodation is, in demand. The other point that I'd like to mention in responding to this is that we do not have before us disciplinary finding against an individual or official specifically for approving a non-compliant building since 2023. This is obviously something that we need to look at. And I want to use this opportunity to call on, students who may be in distress. Either you don't know, the status of your accommodation, whether especially those who are in private accommodation, whether that accommodation has been paid, whether you've been threatened with being kicked out, whether the accommodation is what was promised, because some accommodation providers provide a 5-star treatment, and when you get there is just 1 star. Whether the conditions which you stay in that accommodation are proper, they're safe, and are conducive for a student. Complain. Go and cry. Go to the university student accommodation people. Call the NSFAS, helpline. Talk to your SRCs. Talk to your SASCO, EFF student command. Talk to anyone and everyone, DASO, anyone and everyone on campus. Your student leaders, talk to them and complain if you're not happy with your student accommodation until someone gets to attend to it. But the gold standard is that there has to be 0 complaint. But as we know, even some of the 5-star hotels have their, doors and windows stretched just because they don't provide what they've promised. So we'll strive for that gold standard. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Let's take a follow-up question from Honorable Kennedy from Limpopo.
Thank you, House Chair. Greeting to the Minister and members on the platform. Minister, given that the NSFAS student accommodation pilot project continues to be a multi-billion rand hub of corruption, where corrupt officials routinely pocket bribes to accredit hazardous and structural compromise death traps that violate basic human dignity and the prescribed minimum norms and standards for student housing. How do you explain this catastrophic failure of the department's current inspection framework, which allowed non-compliant buildings lacking basic security, lacking functional plumbing, lacking reliable electricity to be accredited and paid for using public funds since that year of 2023? And what emergency real-time safety audit is your department coordinating alongside municipalities to immediately inspect all NSFAS funded buildings and evict corrupt landlords before students lose their life to these structural or fire hazard buildings? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kennedy. Honorable members that are going to speak, I'm making a request. Please remember, it's a follow-up question and not follow-up questions. Minister, please respond.
Thank you. I think just 2 things. One, let me get the list from Honorable Kennedy. And when I say let me get the list, I'm not suggesting that what she's saying is not there. We want the list so that we go to specifically attend to those student accommodation addresses. Send NSFAS people, send everyone who's responsible, the universities themselves, to go and check those residences and ensure that action is being taken. But secondly, some of the issues that Honorable Kennedy is raising, are things that do not occur in normal contractual agreements. It's just pure criminality, and I think we need to treat it as that. And so some of the issues do not only just need to be reported to me, they also need to be reported, to the police. If there's fraud, if there's abuse, if there's this, if the people are taking bribes, and we know who those people are, and so on and so forth. Let's ensure that those people are arrested, because that's part of what gives, that's part of what's dealing with, the state's aspiration of providing quality accommodation to everyone. It's all this middlemen and middlemen of middlemen of middlemen who keep on peeling off the fat, of the NSFAS budget. Student accommodation has actually, now surpassed tuition as a cost. That should worry us. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you so much, Minister. Let's go to the province of Mpumalanga and get Honorable Sibande on the platform.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your fabulous responses. But nevertheless, the Honorable Minister will agree that most of our towns are facing the challenges of aging residential infrastructure, with landlords prioritizing the maximization of profit at the expense of proper maintenance and refurbishment of the residential complexes. This is compounded by the poor regulatory standards and enforcement of municipal bylaws. Minister, in this regard, what are the plans of the department over the current medium-term expenditure framework in terms of the rollout of students accommodation, and whether the department has considered introducing a hybrid system of learning that consists of contacts online learning, especially in the current rapidly evolving digital age, to mitigate the department's challenges for more classrooms and students' accommodations. I'll thank you.
Thank you. Let's hand over to the Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sibande. It's actually two questions that you're raising. One being the student accommodation program over the medium term and what our immediate responsibility is. Because we have to ensure that the existing funded stock safe and credible while expanding, supply against, verified demand. So we already have available stock. Some of it is very good, which is private accommodation. Some of it cannot be used. And so we have to improve that. But we're also investing in the institutions themselves, So the president's mandate at the State of the Nation address was look at how we can improve student accommodation that's based on campuses. And that's that for us is what our goal is. Of course, it will have to be mixed. It will have to include initially elements of private accommodation providers, and so on and so forth. And I think we should not also underestimate, yes, there may be big capital that is invested in student accommodation, but also we must not underestimate the transformative nature of what this income has done into our communities. Those single households, as long as they're compliant, as long as they've got a good room, as long as they can afford the student to study, that injection into that household, into that community is going a long way. So we've got to try and see how this transition protects students, but also that we value its intervention. So there are projects in the pipeline currently that that exist. The shortage, if we are to build student accommodation in every university, is about 200,000 beds. The estimate for each bed ranges anything between 285 to 350,000, a single bed, to construct a single bed, new bed in a university, which essentially means that we need about 60 to 70 billion rand to fully construct student accommodation. So it's a discussion that we need to really think deeply about, because I think there seems to be this aspiration expressed, which is not realistic, which is not practical, where we think that each and every student who goes into a university or a TVET college must be accommodated and must be accommodated on campus. That's unsustainable. I think our priority has to be to redirect those resources towards actual tuition, towards actual learning facility, as opposed to, currently where student accommodation, as I said, far surpasses, tuition and so on. and has actually become the priority. I mean, the NSFAS administrator has to prioritize paying student accommodation providers as opposed to paying tuition, to institutions, which is quite a worrying trend. So yeah, but I think it's a discussion that we need to have. But whilst we're having that discussion, our responsibility is to make sure that every student is accommodated safely, supported properly, so that they're able to complete their studies on time.
Thank you, Minister. I will move direct to the province of Limpopo and get Honorable Pinar.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Minister. Minister, you just spoke of a shortcoming of funds. But Minister, NSFAS is a prime example of what government's abuse and misusing of taxpayers' money. Just down the street from Parliament, on the beachfront, they are leasing parking bays for almost 19 million and office space for 166 million over 5 years instead of student accommodation. You have indicated that you are working to end the lease. Can you please indicate whether it has been ended? And if not, when can we expect the last payment from taxpayers' money for this oceanfront property that adds no value to the lives of students? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pinar. Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Pinar. You know, me and you are from Limpopo, and that building is too far from Limpopo. You know, you need to go see it. But the rental, actually, that contract is coming to an end. I think it's sometime next year. It is under investigation from the Special Investigation Unit with regards to the procurement that happened in that building. Thirdly, yes, the NSFAS is looking into moving out of that building. It doesn't make sense for them to move out now. It's impractical, but also their contractual obligations until such time that contract is set aside. And it's something that we're willing to pursue to make sure that if in any way a cent has been lost during that procurement process, that every cent of that is paid back. So I'm with you on that one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll then move to the biggest province yet smallest in population, the Northern Cape. Honorable Finis.
No, thanks very much, Chairperson. I'm having the question that I need to ask the Minister on behalf of Honorable Finis, but I'm covered, Chair, that maybe we can just pass, because when the Minister was responding, he also covered what I wanted to ask on behalf of Honorable Finis. And thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, no, thank you, Honorable Mukwela. I was worried, how is Honorable Finis looking like you now? We'll move to question 24. And Minister, may you please kindly respond to question 24?
The answer is no. We don't conduct and haven't conducted an audit, either national audit or provincial audits, to determine whether every public university or TVET program is aligned with provincial economic development priorities. There are therefore no such audit findings, so we cannot, or a date for their tabling, so we cannot provide those because they do not exist. But what's important is that program alignment is assessed through a completely separate process. So it doesn't mean that if there's no audit, we don't do that assessment. So in universities, they, this includes enrollment planning, the approval of programs, qualification mix, the role of the Council on Higher Education Accreditation, and review. So we don't just pass a qualification. The council has to say, yes, this qualification can go. With regards to TVET colleges, is the QCTO which accredits. It looks at the college plans, it looks at the centers of specialization, but we also look at the national list of occupations in high demand. And of course, these do not necessarily constitute a cross system with provincial audits as contemplated, but we obviously the logic is national, study, research, and so on will then permeate into provinces, and this helps us to identify if there are any systems gap, if we need to strengthen, if we need an integrated program. That we should map across universities and TVET colleges. All of those things happen. Secondly, we do not have a verified consolidated data set citing how many institutions in each province introduce new programs. What I can tell you though, okay, maybe let me deal with this part. University and TVET data is held separately, and it covers full qualifications, curriculum amendments, occupational and short. So we have that data decentralized in each of our universities and TVET colleges. But these categories obviously cannot responsibly be added together as equivalent program. For TVET, the figures supplied, in terms of new programs include, renewable energy, digital skills initiatives, the opportunity to phase out legacy projects also opened up a window for the introduction of some of the new program. And then the expression fully equipped in the question does not have a uniform college level measure. So readiness must be assessed at campus and trade level against the requirements of a particular qualifications. Do we have a workshop infrastructure? Do we have the equipment? Do we have a qualified lecturer? Do we have accreditation? Do we have workplace partnership? And also, what are the trade test arrangements? So that entire journey has completely become different for the institution, and therefore, for the for the students who are participating in this institution. We do not currently have a verified province disaggregated measures of the graduates who secure employment within 12 months. This is one of the things that we need to, measure. Our system is designed to measure enrollments. It is not designed to determine success. It is not designed to determine competence. It is not designed to determine absorption, and so on and so forth. Some of those are left to the vices of the individual students themselves. So this is one area that we need to look, to look at. So I hope that answers the question, honourable member.
Thank you, Minister. Let's go back to the province of KZN and get Honorable Mhlongo for her follow-up question. Honorable Mhlongo. Going once, twice, gone. We'll move to the province of Limpopo and get Honorable Mokwile to ask a follow-up question. Unmute, Honorable Mokwile. Unmute. There you are. Unmute. Yes.
No. Thanks very much, Chairperson of the session, House Chair, Honorable Modise. Chair, my follow-up question to the Minister is that thank you very much, Minister, for comprehensive response to this important question. My follow-up question to you is whether South Africa has produced sufficient postdoctorate graduates in this case critical skills identified by honorable members, and if not, what are the plans going forward, and whether the department is aware of the overall contribution of the corporate sector toward the funding of this case critical skills, and if so, what is the situation now, Minister? I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mokwile. Minister.
Thank you so much, House Chair. I know this this was a question being read on behalf of Honorable Feni, but just to clarify that a postdoctoral fellow is a researcher who has already completed a doctorate. So it's not a separate, category of a graduate. And we do not have a verified national benchmark for that field. So we don't have a like doctor and then postdoctor. So everyone, even if you do postdoctor, you still are just a doctor. Just studied a little bit deeper than the rest of us. So, but we don't keep that information. But I think the crux of it is that we have national development plan targets, which set certain 70 I think 70% of our academic staff in universities should have postgraduate qualifications, masters and PhDs. It's still an ambition, an important one nevertheless. And we've done everything that we can to make sure that we invest, into postdoctoral studies. The corporate sector also contributes, through the skills levy, workplace learning, and so on and so forth. And I think we need to do more in mobilizing private rand value, into public institutions. We must also make a distinction between, skills development funding from voluntary corporate investment, against, statutory investment. And I think, but the objective has to be to mobilize all sources of funding towards investment into, our critical and scarce skills list. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Let's go to the province of Northwest and get Member Andrianse.
Thank you, Honourable Modise. Honourable Minister, recent discussions on South Africa's energy transition and digital economy highlight the urgent need for skills in areas such as renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and green hydrogen. How many institutions have actually introduced programs in these fields? And does the department believe the current rollout, if there is sufficient to meet national economic priorities? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Andrianse. Minister.
Look, I mean, we have to do more. We're creating skills economic zones in Mpumalanga, in the Northern Cape, in Limpopo, to specifically target, those economies in terms of, the skills demanded and as part of the transition. But the reality is that we need much more than that. And so the president's mandate of a skills revolution includes, partly this work around what we need to do, with all of the critical skills and how we prioritize those, how we get to train those, how do we organize that, that training. I notice, and with a few seconds, House Chair, just to acknowledge, I know it's his first time, our Deputy Minister, Yusuf Kasim, who's joined the, our delegation from the ministry, and also to acknowledge Deputy Minister Nzunza, who's also part of this. Thank you. I know the honourable member won't mind if I acknowledge Deputy Minister Kasim during a response to their question. Thank you so much, Chair.
No, we welcome both deputy ministers on the platform. Thank you for indicating that they have joined the meeting. As we move to the food basket of the country, the province of the Free State, and get Honorable Makeseni on the line. Honorable Makeseni. Going once, twice, gone. With that in mind, Minister, let's go to the last question on for the day. That is question 12, as asked by Honorable Masumpa. May you kindly respond? Minister?
The minister left the platform. Please.
Or was he telling us that Honorable Kasim will continue with the questions?
I'm not sure. Check with him, but he's no longer on the platform.
Deputy Minister Kasim, can you hear us?
Chair, I can hear you, but I don't believe
you
that I
delegated
have the.
to respond?
No, I've not been delegated, Honorable Chair.
Okay. He mentioned 2 deputy ministers. Did not catch the second deputy minister.
Chairperson, he was mentioning Honorable Nzuza for Home Affairs.
Deputy Minister, so for the next set of questions.
Yes.
Mshazo Mnyama, welcome as well. Ngiyabonga Makeba for indicating that. What do we call the support team, the IT? DM, is there any way that we can get hold of the minister? It's a last set of questions.
I will call him now. I think he might have believed, Chairperson, that the questions have been exhausted, so it might have been an error. Let me try and call him to reconnect.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Minister. We're on the last set of questions for the day for you. That is question 12, as asked by Honorable Masumba. Can you kindly respond?
My apologies, Chair. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I had to try and reconnect. Back with question 12. Yes, Honorable. I think we're strengthening our artisan development as a complete pathway from training to work and enterprise. And yes, it's not enough to enroll a learner at a college. The system must connect occupational learning, practical training, an accredited workplace, a trade test, and ultimately employment or a viable business. So the National Development Plan target is to produce 30,000 qualified artisans a year by 2030. We're not yet at that level. Our numbers at 2024, 2025 dipped to about 16,000 after we peaked at 21, 22,000 in 2019. And this is against a target of 26,500. So the immediate challenge is therefore to improve the conversion of trainees into qualified artisan, especially through access to accredited workplaces, employers, mentors, properly equipped workshops in our colleges, and also timely trade testing. And I want to use this opportunity to call on all employers, industry to open up their doors. But as part of these interventions, just 4 areas that I want to mention. First, we're strengthening employer-linked occupational programs at public TVET colleges. We have now what we refer to as occupational programs. And, this includes the centers of specialization. These programs combine college-based theory and practical training with structured workplace learning in priority trades so that provision is aligned with occupation in demand and the need of provincial and local economies. So a child spent some few hours in the classroom, then in the workshop, and then in the workplace. That will, we believe, help accelerate our artisan production program. Secondly, Indlela and the National Artisan Development Support Center coordinate the artisan development system, and their role is obviously to include assisting colleges and SETAs to place apprentices and TVET engineering graduates in accredited workplaces, to also monitor their progress towards trade testing and improve the tracking and certification and employment outcome. That's one element that we obviously need to strengthen. RPL is also used. Of course, there are some challenges. We'll talk to that some other day. That's not the question for today. Where experienced workers have their skills assessed, So then the third intervention is CETAS and the National Skills Fund, where we're directing resources towards apprenticeship, towards workplace placements, mentoring, equipment, and trade test readiness. The NSFAS intervention in this regard has been probably one of the best. It's one of the things we need to improve, their support to public institutions on all of those things, and their support in particular on the production of artisans. In fact, long-standing program on artisan massification is finally going to be rolled out sometime in the course of this quarter. Fourthly, we are also moving or extending beyond designated trades, to look at skills such as jewelry, skills such as weaving, craft production. In other countries, human resource practitioners, receptionists, all of those are classified as occupational trade, and I think that's the kind of level that we need to go, because we need to remove this mentality that artisans and occupational trades are only in in the engineering side, and that human resources must be undermined. I saw the whole country, going on an uproar, and maybe we will have time to clarify that at Gersibande, where is a head of HR allegedly, which is now verified that he had the qualifications for HR, contrary to the, to the public claim and all sorts of stories. But we need a delicate balance of skills development in our country. We shouldn't bash any or skill against each other. Finally, artisan training must include an enterprise pathway, where colleges and their partners are expected to link technical training with entrepreneurship support, costing, business compliant, and so on and so forth. So those are the elements of interventions, Honorable Masumpa, that we are looking at in terms of, increasing the number and rate of our artisans. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister. Let's go back to the province of Western Cape and get Honorable Masumpa for her follow-up question.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good day, everyone. Greetings to the Minister, Deputy Ministers, to the Chairperson of the NCOP, and all honorable members, as well as everyone on the platform. Thank you, Minister, for your response. Honorable Minister will agree that the TVET sector plays a critical role in the provision of these skills and have been underfunded for some time. Can the Honorable Minister therefore take the August House into confidence about trajectory of average intake of students in these skills over last 3 years? And secondly, whether the department has any plan to incentivize TVET colleges to attract more students in these critical skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Masumpa. Honorable Minister.
Look, I agree with Honorable Masumpa that TVET colleges are central and that we need to expand, artisan and occupational skills. And obviously we need to, verify some of the information that she's asking for, the 3-year intake series for specific skills that are, mentioned there. And I think that's information that we can provide. But the more details, which I think I've provided in the earlier questions, the number of artisans, 16,200 against a target of 26,500. We are 10,000 short. And so we're pulling our socks and asking the CETAS and the NSF to pull up their purse strings so that we're able to mobilize more students towards a pathway of artisanship. So that's something that we'll have to look at. We do have, to a certain extent, this data, but I think, consolidating it and handing it over to the Honorable Member Masumpa would be helpful. Then, we will continue to support centers of specialization, CETAS and the Skills Fund for apprenticeship, and a whole range of other activities that would lead us to massify artisan. There's an emerging scholarship, Chairperson, that suggests that our emphasis on occupational trades, in particular engineering trades, may actually be misplaced. So that's something we've asked the intelligent people to look into and to advise us. But it also speaks to the need of constant labor intelligence. Labor market intelligence, something that turned around Singapore in a very short space of time, something that, Kazakhstan is also looking at, comparing their model to the German model and how it can specifically fit into the conditions of Kazakhstan. But just using labor market intelligence to get to understand the movement of labor, the demand for skills, who do we need, where can we place them? That's the kind of work that, we've been putting our mind into. Yes, we have to incentivize colleges, who performs better, who contributes to the production of artisans, and so on and so forth. So I fully agree with you that, we probably need to strengthen that part of the question. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you, Minister. I did not want to disturb you more. You kindly switch on your video once more as we go to the province.
Yes.
Yeah, as we go to the province of the Free State and get Honorable Dr. Skier Kochen on the platform.
Thank you, Chairperson Modise. And good afternoon, Minister. I based this follow-up question on a physical oversight and interaction that I had with this specific TVET college that I'm going to mention. So the original question is very noble. So how can we try to assist graduates to start their own businesses when TVET college like Mateo Artisan College in Bloemfontein have failed to place hundreds of students at workplaces to gain the required practical hours, or their products used on clients have expired? So, Minister, to go back to basics, how will you hold executive accountable, like the principal of that school, to stop misusing funds from CETA to ensure students are trained, qualified, experienced to start their own business? Because as of now, we're sitting at August, and the school of hairdressing, they haven't done their trade test. They've graduated, but I haven't done. So how can we enable them and hold this specific principle accountable to ensure that we can grow businesses and not kill the futures of our young people?
Okay. We'll have to look. Yeah.
Yes, Minister. Sorry. No, continue.
Okay. No. I was saying, House Chair, and thank you for that question. I've seen that question. I think we've responded to it. I just don't remember the details thereof. But what I can assure the honourable member is that we will find out what's happening and ensure that if it has not been attended to since his question was asked, that seems to be the case. So we'll have to get on the line with the principal of Motel TVET College to get to understand why there are those issues. But this underscores my point. One, workplaces are a function of the availability of workspaces are a function of the economy. They're not just a function of the education sector. Secondly, if the economy is not growing, if the economy is not creating jobs, you will see with the rise in graduate unemployment. This is the highest it's ever been since 1994. We've been struggling around 6% for years, and now we are, at 12%. So that's the second thing. The third thing is that if we don't get factories to open up their doors to give young people experience who are paid for, by the way, stipends from the Skills Fund and from the SETAs, we're not going to succeed. And so our call really, you know, I know a couple of brands, and I hope the honorable member also knows a couple of brands that do hairstyles and hair chemicals. Let's go talk to them. Let them open their doors and offer workplaces. But also, if it's salons, there in Bloemfontein, in the Free State, those who are owning salons, please work. It's the skill that will benefit your businesses at the end of the day. So that's our call, and I hope the honorable members will also join us in that call as they face these challenges, not only direct them only to us, but talk to their neighbors who may be in business to open up their doors to place learners for this experiential learning. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. We move right along to the home of legends, the province of the Eastern Cape, and get Honorable Machobeni on the line. Honorable Machobeni.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Greetings to you. Greetings to the Honorable Minister and Honorable members. Minister, thank you with your explanation. It shows that the support that you've given them as a department, it's perfect. But Minister, many TVET colleges are currently teaching metalworks, carpentry, etc., using an outdated machinery from 1990s. What steps have you been taken to ensure that all TVET colleges have modernized workshops so as to ensure that these learners are industrial ready? Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Machobeni. Minister?
Well, I think we should check which college is that. And yes, there are challenges. I mean, some of our colleges, well, I'm not sure about 1996. It may be taking it a bit far back. You know, so we'll have to check what are, you know, that program they're studying and what kind of support that they need. What we have done, you know, over the last few years, I mean, we've spent more than, well, billions of francs, I'm not sure of the specific figure now, into investing into equipments in our TVET colleges, investing into machinery, investing into infrastructure, the kind of workshops. It obviously may not cover all our 350 campuses spread, you know, throughout the province. But there is work that has been done to ensure that we modernize, you know, our infrastructure. By the way, you know, our TVET system is second to none, you know, and compared to some of the systems also in the world, I believe that we should be able to punch completely above our weight. We, of course, need to do a lot more. There are a lot of reforms that are still necessary: governance, infrastructure, you know, training, facilitators, and so on and so forth. But I think that we are in the correct trajectory, you know, as we celebrate TVET month this month in building, you know, world-class TVET system.
Thank you, Minister. And I assure you it was not on purpose that the last two speakers on the list are both from the home of legends in the Eastern Cape. We take the last question for the day from Honorable Feni, the People's Advocate.
He's back.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. You are welcome from the home of Mapanya Panya. I think, Honorable Chair, mine is to just to commend the Minister. I do not have a question. I think the Minister have also, in his responses, give us some tasks to embark on, not only to ask questions. I think he said it's not only his responsibility, but there's a collective responsibility to ensure that we are working hand in hand. So that's what I wanted to just to say that I'm covered in terms of the responses. That is why I do not have a question, Chair, just to adhere to the call of the Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Feni. Minister, there was no question. Yeah, I'm sure you are happy now. And I'm sure the assignment that we have given to members, they will do it. and Member Kennedy will also supply you with a list that you requested as I hand over to my capable colleague, Honorable Ryder, for the last session of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Modise. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, delegates. Thank you very much. Honourable delegates, I'll now call on the Minister of Home Affairs to take the virtual podium. Welcome, Minister Schreiber. Just a reminder, you have 5 minutes for the reply to each original question and then a maximum of 4 minutes for the response to each supplementary question. Honourable Minister, I will therefore ask you to respond to the first question which was put to you. It's question number 149. It was asked by the Honourable Mananiso from Gauteng, and it relates to the backlog in processing of asylum claims. If I can hand over to you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Good afternoon, and good afternoon indeed to all the honourable members. As always, a great pleasure to be here with you today in the National Council of Provinces. Let me also greet Deputy Minister Nzuza and all other colleagues on the platform. Chair, in terms of the question, can report that there is no backlog currently at the first level of adjudication within the department, with more than 90% of applications receiving their first level adjudication within 30 days. The Refugee Appeals Authority is also making steady progress in finalizing the existing backlog of asylum appeals. In the previous 3 years, the biggest challenge we had was the fact that the Appeals Authority was capacitated with only 10 members nationally to work on an appeals caseload that had been developing over many years. That is why in 2025, the department partnered with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees on a new project intended to scale up the performance of the initial backlog project, which we call the Surge Initiative Project. This Surge project is focused on capacitating the authority in its various regions by recruiting additional adjudicators, the development of different adjudication strategies, capacity development from first instance adjudication by the Refugee Status Determination Officer in the department, all the way up to the level of appeal and review. Technology enhancement of the adjudication process, as well as data compilation across all the departmental systems, is also underway. Last year, Chair, I appointed an additional 40 part-time members who were recruited from different societies of advocates in Pretoria to assist with the backlog. The additional members commenced with the work between January and February of this year. I can also report to this House that recruitment in the Cape Town region is also currently underway, with an estimated number of 35 additional members to adjudicate on the Cape Town caseload. The same process will then be rolled out over the other 3 regions where RASA operates. However, it's important to point out that the project does remain underfunded, and this does pose a risk to the smooth processing and finalization of the appeals. But I think important to emphasize, Chair, where there previously were only 10 people working on this, we've now got that additional 40 and another 35 on the way, which is indeed very encouraging progress. In terms of the second part of the question, the department has prioritized the filling of critical frontline and operational posts through a centrally coordinated staffing committee chaired by the Director General. Priority focus areas include indeed immigration services and inspectorate functions, where 71 operational posts have been prioritized for funding and filling to strengthen immigration enforcement and inspectorate capacity. I think members will also have seen the 301 additional posts that we have recently advertised. So, Chair, that covers both aspects of the initial question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now ask the Honourable Mananiso if she has a follow-up question.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson, and greetings to the Minister and Deputy Minister and members on the platform. Honourable Minister may be aware of other critical pushback factors that undermines the fast-tracking of the processing of asylum applications and speedy deportation of those found to be illegally in the country. These include, but not limited to, protracted litigation by asylum seekers and undue delays in the finalization of the white paper on the immigration. Against this background, can the Honourable Minister take this House in confidence about the challenges of the department in the fast-tracking and translation of the white paper on immigration? And again, can the minister just give us in detail in terms of when will this white paper process and its translation be into legislation? And when will it be finalized? I want the minister to commit before the House. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. A reminder that supplementary questions are limited to one question per opportunity, but Minister, if you can respond as best you can, please.
Thank you, Chair. The revised white paper on citizenship, immigration and refugee protection was approved by Cabinet earlier this year, following a very extensive work process from the department. And the target that exists in relation to the Honourable Member's question is, I believe, March of next year. So the beginning of the next financial year, we hope to table a bill that flows from that work. Members will also know that this is an item that the President addressed in his recent address to the nation on the comprehensive approach to managing migration. And I can confirm that that work of developing the bill is underway. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. Let's now go to the Honourable Billy, who has a supplementary question.
Thank you, House Chair. Greetings to your good self. Greetings to the Minister, the Deputy Ministers, and to the Honourable Members present. House Chair, let me put my follow-up. Minister, is it not ironic that the ANC now asks about a refugee appeals backlog it allowed to accumulate for more than 3 decades? I think you have largely answered the initial question, but perhaps, Minister, you want to use this opportunity to further expand on the reform programs that are already in place and how quickly some of these backlogs will be cleared in the next few years or months. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Billy. Minister, please respond.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think it's fair to say that these backlogs didn't fall from the sky. They were issues that have been accumulating over many years, and something that indeed this administration inherited, and where the work has to be done and is underway to address them. So if you look at the results we've already seen from the Surge Initiative project, in terms of the asylum seeker backlog, it's very encouraging to see that we've had, I think, around a 12% reduction in one category over the last financial year, and an even higher reduction as in a different category of these backlog cases since this project has been underway. So I think the investment in the relationship with partners, as always, is very important to us. We've invested in the relationship with the UNHCR, as I've mentioned, as well as with the legal fraternity. There have been engagements with judicial officers to try and smooth and speed up the process around this. And I do think that is making an impact and will continue to make an impact as we move forward. I think the Honourable Mananiso also mentioned court cases, but it's very important to mention the victory that Home Affairs achieved in the Constitutional Court really recently in relation to exactly this issue, where asylum seekers whose claims had been rejected are no longer able to actually just continue to submit repeat applications. And that is a direct result of the work that Home Affairs has been doing, even in the legal space, to put in place a more effective system that is not open to abuse and to the sort of dragging out of these cases. So, Chair, as it relates specifically to the issue of asylum and refugee management, as I say, the first instance applications has no backlog. The backlog that existed over many years and grew is being systematically dealt with in the appeals space. And indeed, that court case is going to assist. I think more broadly, of course, this challenge is one that we've confronted head on as well in the immigration space as it relates to permitting and visa backlogs. And of course, yesterday we saw the launch of the electronic travel authorization system, which is really the systematic reform and solution that is going to address all these issues. Where we want to end up is for all immigration processes as well as your asylum and refugee processes to run through that automated and modernized system, so that we not only eradicate the backlogs that we inherited and that exist, but most critically, that we prevent this kind of thing from recurring into the future. So that is all part of the comprehensive response and reforms that are underway. Thank you, Chair and members.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now turn to the Honourable Mampuru for a supplementary question. Honourable Mampuru. Once again, Honourable Mampuru is not available. Is there another member from the Economic Freedom Fighters that would like to pose the supplementary question on his behalf? It appears not. We'll then move forward. Honourable van den Berg, the opportunity now falls to you.
Thank you, Chair. From my side, just a simple question, and that is to the Minister. What effects has this ongoing asylum surge and pressure on illegal immigrant registration had on your inspectorate capacity? And if you can answer this question, on the situation with competition for jobs, housing, health, social services, and perhaps if you can narrow it down to the Northern Cape, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable van den Berg. Yes, I think your comment about a simple question may have been a bit of a red herring, but Minister, over to you for reply.
Thank you very much, Chair, and to the honourable member. I think that the general answer, of course, is I think the question relates more to the repatriation process that has been underway recently. That was my impression. And in that regard, to indicate that Home Affairs has processed over 85,000 repatriations in recent weeks, which has really been an extraordinary undertaking, an unprecedented level of work that has accompanied this, where it's not a matter of just letting someone walk out of the country. We have to, in terms of the law and our processes, we have to do fingerprint capturing and verification to see if anyone may be wanted for a crime by the police. We have to see where there are people who are illegally in the country, that they get V-listed so that they are not able to re-enter legally for 5 years. We also have to work with the embassies of various countries in many cases to get what are called group passports for these people who are being repatriated, because in many cases they don't even possess passports from their country of origin. So it is a massive logistical undertaking. I think from Home Affairs side, we are very proud of the fact that we have risen to the occasion, and I am very proud of the team for the work, for the way in which this difficult work has been done without a single serious incident resulting from the work of Home Affairs in this environment and in this unprecedented space. I think in terms of the Northern Cape specifically, I don't have numbers on hand, but what I can say is that we've obviously seen the most pressure coming from urban environments. So I would imagine that perhaps in an area like Kimberley, there would have been quite a number of repatriations in the Northern Cape. But since it is quite a low population province and quite rural, I don't think it will be the lion's share of those 85,000 repatriations. But what I can confirm to the honourable member is that the temporary repatriation facility that we set up at Musina, along with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, is the central receiving point for anyone from across the country, including the Northern Cape, who then gets repatriated and processed from that point on. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. I note that Honourable Mampuru is not connected, so we will move on, Minister, to question number 157. Question 157 was asked by the Honourable Billy, and it asks you to address the milestones in advancing reforms. If you can respond to question 157, please.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair, and for this question as well. I note I have only 5 minutes, and this is my favorite topic, so I'm going to try and be disciplined, Chair. To start by indicating in relation to the white paper that Home Affairs, as well as the Border Management Authority, has made very significant progress in advancing the reform agenda contained in that revised white paper, as well as more broadly in terms of our strategic plan for this administration. As a baseline, recent performance indicators during the Easter period demonstrate both strengthened enforcement and improved operational efficiencies. During that period, as a case study perhaps, traveler volumes increased by 21% to over 1.27 million people, reflecting the capability of this ecosystem to manage legitimate cross-border movements. But at the same time, we also saw a marked improvement in enforcement outcomes, where we saw a 24% decline in the attempted illegal crossings that were taking place, which we think is part of the deterrent effect that we are starting to see. We have also seen a focus on enforcement, where we have seen increases in the arrests of facilitators. This is a very important part of the picture. These are people who facilitate illegal crossings. And that includes a 192% increase in fines for immigration violations, reinforcing adherence to the rule of law. These improvements, I think, are also underscored by the increase in deportations that we saw over the last 2 years. Even before the current repatriation exercise, there was a 46% increase in the number of deportations. And all of this work is really supported and underpinned by our commitment to digital transformation, the use of modern technologies. And I think specifically, again, in the context of yesterday's launch of the ETA, the power of biometric technology for us to be able to detect and verify identities is critical. The department, I think, in terms of the second part of the question, Chair, has made hugely significant progress on the rollout of its digital reform agenda. Over 68.4 million records have been digitized from paper into a digital environment, while biometric-enabled integration that we've seen through our partnership with the banking sector has moved us closer towards our vision of what we call the intelligent population register, where we have dynamic and modern systems able to verify identities. I think just in that, in terms of that project specifically, honorable members, we now have 444 bank branches that are live under that new system, just 5 months after the first one went live. Apologies, 440 branches. Over 500,000 South Africans have already used that system, and it really encompasses or gives expression to our vision, because in that new system, there is no paperwork, there is no booking required, and there is also no scope for manipulation or human intervention. It is all biometrically managed through fingerprint and facial verification, which completely locks out the space for fraud. I think importantly, Chair, the department has also gazetted draft regulations for amendments of the identification regulations in terms of the Identification Act, which is to give effect to the work that is underway to create a digital identity platform where South Africans will have digital versions of their identity credentials that will also be available through their smartphone. So, Chair, I think if I were to summarize the response to Honourable Billy, it is that the three key pillars of our reform agenda encompass the digital partnership that we've rolled out to those 440 bank branches in the last 5 months. It also includes the digital identity system, where we want to bring digital versions of enabling documents right to people's smartphones, and the electronic travel authorization, which we launched yesterday along with the President. And I think when you pull all of those things together, it does point to very substantial progress in a short space of 25 months to deliver the vision for digital transformation that we call Home Affairs at Home. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. Honourable Billy, that was quite an extensive answer. Do you have anything to add in terms of a supplementary question?
Thank you, House Chair. I think the Minister has largely given a response to the question, but I do want to maybe give the Minister another opportunity by asking the following follow-up question. Given that the introduction of forward-looking measures such as merit-based immigration system, the ETA that you mentioned, Minister, and new visa categories for remote workers and startups, what timelines can South Africans expect for the full implementation of these reforms? I know that we've already launched excitedly the ETA, but how will your department ensure that South Africa becomes a very competitive destination for talent and investment under this new system? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Billy. Minister, back to you, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think that exact question was a big focus of the address made by the President yesterday as well. And indeed, in terms of timelines, what we can indicate is that my approach to these kind of technological reforms is always to say that the most difficult work is the work required to go from 0 to 1. And that actually going from 1 to 100 or scaling up from there is actually the most fun part, and often it moves more quickly. And let me just explain what I mean by that. If we look at the work that we've done with the digital partnership, it took us really 18 months of work behind the scenes to do all the system upgrades and enhancements required for us to get into our very first bank branch with this digitalized service. But since then, it has only been 5 months to go from that one first branch to the 440 and counting really now. Every week we are adding more. And I think we are seeing the same with the ETA system. It took us probably about 18 months as well to get to the point where we were able to then really launch it for the pilot phase in October last year. And now we have really put in place the full foundation, which is what we launched yesterday. And what remains now is quite similar, where we have to scale up the ETA to cover additional countries, to cover all of our ports of entry, and to cover every visa category. So not only for short visits, as is currently the case for tourism, but also for more complex visa applications like study visas, work visas, etc. So I'm confident that the most difficult work of getting from 0 to 1 has been done, and that is what we are really, I think, able to say now, 2 years into this administration. And what remains for the rest of this term of office is to now expand and scale up these solutions. So specifically, as Honourable Billy's question relates more to immigration, we have to scale up the ETA by adding those additional countries, visa categories, and ports of entry. So that's what we are focused on, and our commitment is certainly by the end of this administration that the ETA will exist not only as a tourist visa, if I can call it that, but really as an end-to-end digital platform for managing all immigration-related matters in a new manner, where we have technological advancements, we have automated and digitalized systems that don't leave any scope for manipulation or fraud. And that is the commitment that we are able to give, and where I think the evidence is pointing quite clearly that we are delivering on that commitment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now go to the Honourable Nonkonyana for another supplementary question.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable members, good afternoon. Honourable Minister will no doubt agree with us that illegal immigrants rent accommodation from South Africa, both in townships and urban areas. In the light of the experience of June 30 this year and beyond, what is the plan of the department in forging partnerships with communities to identify illegal immigrants and refer them to relevant law enforcement agencies? And secondly, whether the department will consider legislative and policy reforms to criminalize people who knowingly rent out their residential properties to illegal immigrants. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nonkonyana. Minister, I'm not sure that this is a direct link to the original question, but would you like to respond?
Chair, yeah, I don't have a problem. Thank you to the Honourable Nonkonyana for that. Perhaps to just indicate that the Immigration Act already does what the member says in its clauses in relation to aiding and abetting of illegal immigrants. So that is already in the law. And I think the comment on partnership is very important to us, particularly in the context of the Interministerial Committee on Migration and that we do with other law enforcement, reiterate the government's position against a situation where people take the law into their own hands. I don't think that's what the honourable member was suggesting, but I think it's important to just make it clear that it should not be construed in a manner because if we are concerned about restoring the rule of law in our country generally, but also in the immigration system, as we all agree, then we cannot undermine the law at the same time or in the process of doing so. And so I think it's important perhaps just to use the opportunity, Chair, to say again that only government has the legal mandate to do these kind of enforcement operations. But certainly in partnership with each other and in partnership with communities, that is exactly the.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now turn to the Honourable Gericke for a supplementary question, please. Honourable Gericke. I note Honourable Gericke is on the platform. Honourable Gericke, would you like to put your question to the Minister? Let's move on then to the Honourable Zulu, please. Honourable Zulu, your turn.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm handsome and audible. Thank you very much, House Chairperson. Greetings to your good self. Greetings to the honorable members, the minister, the deputy minister, and everyone on the platform. Honorable Minister, in February this year, the SIU exposed a case where a foreign national who had already overstayed his visa left in South Africa and then re-entered the country without any movement record. Parliament subsequently reported that your Border Management Authority Minister has only 2,600 of 11,200 approved ports filled and is operating at about 50% capacity. Minister, what verified evidence can you give this House that the movement control weakness exposed by the SIU has actually been closed across South Africa's ports of entry? If you cannot demonstrate that, Honorable Minister, on what basis are increased deportations being presented as proof of threatened border integrity rather than evidence of intensified enforcement within a system that still has serious gaps, Honorable Minister? Thank you very much, House Chairperson, for the opportunity given.
Thank you, Honourable Zulu. Tenuous Link, Minister, your response, please.
Chair, I'm afraid in this case, it really, in my view, is not related at all to the main question. I don't know if perhaps it was intended to be a follow-up at a different spot, but the question does not relate to the movement control system. So I just would not have the specifics on hand. So I think in this case, it would be difficult to answer, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. And Honourable Zulu, I think there's an invitation there to submit your question in the form of a written question. That would probably be the best solution. Let's give Honourable Gericke one last chance to place his supplementary question to the Minister. I see he's not engaging, so we'll move on, Minister. We move on to question number 151. Question 151 was asked by the Honourable Madupe. It relates to organised systemic corruption.
Chairperson.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gericke, we've moved on already. I did call you 4 times. We've moved on. We're on question number 151. Minister, if you can respond to question 151, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just to indicate that the department does rely on the reporting of cases, which then leads to investigation. And members may know that Home Affairs is really one of the few sort of line departments that has its own counter-corruption and security services unit, and really does good work with limited resources to investigate these reports. Inspections by the Immigration Enforcement Unit also covers a number of sectors, and it does include the kind of internet shops that the main question is referring to, which means that regular inspections are conducted and actions are taken against those who transgress. In the field of document verification and confiscation, that is also a regular part of the law enforcement operations that we do in partnership with other government departments. And the specifics on the successes and the exact metrics, those are always reported against the annual performance plan. So we do monitor and assess that performance against specific targets that are set for the enforcement component within the annual performance plan. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable Madupe, your supplementary question, please.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Greetings to yourself, Honourable Minister and Deputy Minister. Honourable Minister, allow me to express our appreciation of the breakthrough by the Special Investigating Unit in uncovering the systemic corruption in the Department of Home Affairs. As we could recall, this investigation is a culmination of the process that date as far as the 6th administration. My follow-up question are whether there is a plan by the department to institutionalize lifestyle audit for officials, mandatory and regular, and does the department have a plan to strengthen the anti-corruption unit of the department? Thank you very much, Honourable Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Madupe. Your reply to that, please, Minister.
Thank you, Chair, and to the Honourable Madupe for the question. The work of the SIU in this environment has gone even well beyond your traditional lifestyle audit. Obviously, it is a work that is still in progress. The release earlier this year was of an interim report, and we continue to work with the SIU towards the finalization of all of this work. But as you will know, the SIU's powers extend into the most serious kind of lifestyle audit you can imagine, including, as we've already seen, some of the matters where people owned homes that were well beyond the means of their salaries, for example. So certainly we not only support that approach, we are actively implementing it. We have had 65 dismissals since July 2024 from the Department of Home Affairs alone. We've had, I think, 9 successful convictions and a number of arrests as well over that period. And I think that demonstrates the impact that exactly this work is having. The member is correct to identify the counter-corruption and security services branch. We do still continue to face resource constraints in this environment. But I think the important thing to say is that all of the digital reforms that we are rolling out are geared and have a component which links directly to enhancing our enforcement capacity. So whether it is the ETA, which is then systematically recording biometrics and other information for all foreigners entering the country, or indeed some of the reforms that we are rolling out to do away with the Green ID book, by way of example, which is very fraud prone and often used in cases of identity theft by illegal immigrants, that all of these things actually come together to support the counter-corruption work. So we agree with the SIU's assessment in its interim report about the systemic causes of corruption, and you will see that almost all of them relate to the manual processes, which gives discretionary powers and the ability to manipulate outcomes and decisions into the hand of certain crooked officials. And that is exactly what we are eradicating through the shift to more advanced technological platforms. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. The next opportunity for a supplementary question goes to the Honourable Mokai.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair, Honorable Ryder, and good afternoon to the Honorable Minister, Dr. Leon Schreiber, and welcome again to the NCOP chamber on the virtual platform. Minister, my follow-up question is as follows. The SIU report and the experiences of our people all confirm that the ANC's paper-based and corruption-prone systems enabled document syndicates to flourish. And I think we have touched a bit on how the digitalization process is assisting to shut down these syndicates out permanently. But I would like the minister just to expatiate on how the digitalization transformation program is geared and addressing all these corruption and paper-based prone activities. Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Mokai. Honourable Minister, I think the signal broke up a little in the middle, but I'm sure you got the gist of the question.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Chair. Just to really emphasize that this particular perspective, I think, is really important for understanding our approach to dealing with these issues. And the perspective is that while it is critically important for us to have accountability for individuals involved in corruption or fraud, that alone, individual accountability, will not actually be enough to prevent a recurrence of these kind of activities. The only way to prevent a recurrence of these activities is to diagnose the root causes. What are the loopholes and specific opportunities that people can manipulate and abuse in order to have a corrupt outcome, whether it is with a visa document or whether it's with a civic service application. And that is really why we are so focused on modernizing these systems, because that is the only way where you can close down the discretion and the access that any particular individual, official, or person could have to manipulate an outcome. So I mentioned earlier the case study of the work we're doing with the banking sector, which is not only really about, it's not only about the expansion of access, which is obviously critical, but it is also about how that is transforming the application process itself. Because if you were to go into one of these modernized systems in the bank branches, you will find that it is all directly linked to your fingerprint and your face. And that becomes the key that actually unlocks the transaction. And it's a message that we were also conveying yesterday in the case of the ETA, where we are even making the point that we would like to work with someone like AXA, and we are engaging with them because they've got e-gates at the airports. That is a good example of where we could actually eliminate completely the reliance even on a physical passport or a physical visa document, or even on a passport stamp itself, because it is actually the facial verification that becomes the key. It is that which becomes the record of a movement into or out of the country. So I think you see this kind of focus on automation and closing of loopholes, both in the civics environment with the new application processes we've rolled out for smart IDs, and where we will shortly add passports, first-time applications into that process. But you also see it now with the ETA in the immigration space, where you move away from reliance on any kind of paper document or expression which can be manipulated. You close down the space for officials or anyone to interfere with an application, and you actually use technology as your ally to do so.
Thank you very much, Minister. I wonder if that technology will be able to differentiate between my before coffee face and my after coffee face in the morning. Honourable delegates, the next opportunity for a supplementary question was granted to the Honourable Makasini. I've checked the platform. I note that Honourable Makasini is not online. Is there another member of the freedom fighters that would like to take up the slot? I see none of the EFF members unmuting or raising a hand. So I'm going to then continue.
Chair.
Honourable Mampuru.
Thank you, Chair. I will take this question on behalf of Honorable Makesini. She has network problems like everyone else in the whole country. Yeah,
thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, it is concerning to note how the Department of Home Affairs operate as compromised, syndicate-driven entity where highly organized criminal networks continue to manufacture and sell South African passports, identity documents, visas, and permits to high bidders. Why do you continue to only investigate syndicates after fraudulent documents have already been printed out, circulated, and also used? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Your reply to that, please, Minister.
Thank you, Chair. I think the reply is that we don't only do that. I think, as I've said in the previous response, that the entire focus of this administration is on proactively moving away from reliance on only these kind of physical documents to prove status. I think when you speak about permits and visas specifically, it really relates, or let me rephrase it. The question we have to answer is, how do we verify whether a foreign national has legal status in South Africa? That's the question we have to answer. And for the longest time, the answer to that question has been through reliance on a piece of paper, which is a visa document, for example. And what we are saying now is that visa document, that piece of paper, is not actually the thing that grants you the status. It is an expression of the record of your status. And we want to move the verification away from something like a piece of paper, which can be manipulated, into the biometric space, which cannot. And if you look at something like online banking, that is the kind of example we have in mind, where I would wager that every single member on this meeting has a banking application on their smartphone, and every single day they rely on their facial verification to access their banking. And they trust that system, they trust the security of that system, quite literally with their life savings. And we are saying exactly in the same way, we are going to move away from trusting a piece of paper, which can be manipulated or forged, as the Honourable Member has outlined, to relying on exactly the same thing that South Africans are using in their millions already for something like online banking. That is really the perspective, and that is the proactive work that is going on, which is certainly not only about reacting, it is about rebuilding the entire foundation of the system itself. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now ask the Honourable Nua to take the platform with a supplementary question.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. I think you can see me. I can close my video.
Yes, we've seen you and your very nice jacket. Thank you, Honourable Nua.
Okay, thank you very much. Very briefly, Minister, we see the success of Madlanga Commission in breaking gradually the neck of the organized crime. Can you just maybe update us if do you have anyone in your department who might have been fingered and possibly referred, who might have links in the criminal justice ecosystem? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nua. Honourable Minister, as I vacate the chair in front, I pass my thanks to you and ask you to reply to Honourable Nua's question, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not aware of a specific name in that regard, but obviously it's work in progress. And should such a thing emerge, of course, we will deal with it. But I think it's important to say that the responsibility to deal with corruption is not only confined to that particular process. In every single government department, we have the responsibility to proactively and on an ongoing basis deal with this issue. And that is why I think the work that Home Affairs is doing with the SIU, the work that we are doing through the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum, where we partnered not only with the SIU, but with the Hawks, with the NPA, with SAPS, our own counter-corruption colleagues. That work remains fundamental, and that is where the bulk of the accountability measures that I referred to earlier is actually originating from. So I think the point is that taking full ownership and responsibility for speeding up disciplinary processes, for investigating corruption and dealing with it on an ongoing basis is something that shouldn't be dependent only on one particular process, but something that should be embraced, I think, fully and on that ongoing basis within departments like ours. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Greetings to yourself, Minister, and the Deputy Minister, members who are on the platform. Greetings to you, Honorable Minister. We're now going to step to question number 144, which has been sponsored by Honorable Machobeni. You have 5 minutes to respond to the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. This question relates to challenges facing the office in Iduchwa in the Eastern Cape. I can confirm that on the 19th of January in 2026, a significant power outage affected parts of the Mbashe area, including the area serviced by this Iduchwa office. When electricity supply was restored approximately a week later, unfortunately, a power surge then caused extensive damage to critical ICT infrastructure, including computer equipment, routers, switches, the network cabinet, and LTE equipment. In consideration of the anticipated time frame it would take to replace all of this extensive damaged equipment and fully restore normal operations, the office deployed a mobile unit as a business continuity measure to ensure uninterrupted service delivery to the community. That mobile unit remains operational, although intermittent disruptions have been experienced due to capacity limitations and indeed the ongoing electricity supply challenges in the area, which I think is an important point to reflect on, where we see local, municipal or local government failures actually having a direct impact on our ability to deliver even home affairs services. However, as an interim arrangement, that office is also utilizing the nearest clinic facility to provide selected civic services, including the registration of births and the issuing of death certificates. The office management there continues to engage with relevant stakeholders to expedite the restoration of the office to full operational capacity following these series of setbacks outside of our control. In addition, the department is in the process of securing alternative office accommodation at the Iduchwa Mall, with occupation anticipated by March 2027. And I think finally, Chair, to indicate that I know that this particular area of Iduchwa is one of those that have also received one of the very first bank branch rollouts in the country. So that should also help to alleviate the pressure in the interim while all this work is underway. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I will then request Honorable Machobeni to sponsor your follow-up question. You've got 2 minutes to do so. Honorable Machobeni.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Greetings to Honorable Minister and Honorable members. Minister, given that the community of Iduchwa in the Eastern Cape has been subjected to continuous service challenges of electrical disruptions. As we speak now, Minister, the office is unable to connect the new computers because the electrical supply is causing equipment to burn out. The IT specialist cannot be properly connect printers and computers because of the ongoing electrical problem. As a result, the office is unable to print important documents like death certificates, birth certificate, and other essential documents. Minister, what measures have you put in place to ensure that residents of Iduchwa, particularly vulnerable persons and those requiring agent identity documents, are not further disadvantaged concerning this crisis that is happening there? Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, over to you to give response.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and to the Honorable Member for the follow-up. I think firstly to just reiterate the solution here has to be the movement of the office to a facility where we have the reliable electricity supply. I've also just quickly checked on our new online platform, which is at myhomeaffairsonline.dha.gov.za, to confirm that there is a bank branch operational in the local mall already in Iduchwa, where the specific issue of identity documents can be addressed, where people can switch if they've lost their ID or they need a smart card. And I think important to say, members, really, even from the honourable member's follow-up question, I said earlier that we have to move towards diagnosing the root causes of these problems. And from the follow-up question and the challenges that the member is relaying from the community, it is clear that the root cause is the failure to provide reliable electricity supply. And that is not something that Home Affairs controls. We will mitigate it in the ways that I have described. But the reality is we've got a local government election coming up in less than 3 months. And it is time for us to have local authorities which can provide reliable electricity supply, because we can raise the issues in different line departments. But I can assure you, you have the same problem that will affect not only Home Affairs, but every national government department if you've got a local municipality that is incompetent or unable to deliver electricity. And that is the root cause that we will also have to address. So the mitigation measures, I think, have been outlined, and we've got the interim solution in place in the form of the mobile unit, as well as the bank branches that we are rolling out at pace. And then the longer term solution in terms of shifting the office to a more conducive environment. But I think we must also not lose the opportunity here to say the root cause of so many of our problems is collapsing local governments. And that is the root cause that we must address. And the people of South Africa have the opportunity to actually do that in the upcoming local government election. It will also assist us and all of us as South Africans who rely on something as basic as electricity provision, but are clearly not receiving it in the community of Iduchwa. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I will now call upon Honorable Phala to present your supplementary question. Thank you very much.
Thank
Honorable
you.
Phala.
Thank you, Chair of the session. I hope you can see me. You can see me. Can I switch off
You are
my
very
camera?
clear. You are very clear, Honorable Phala. You
Thank
can
you very
switch it
much.
off.
Yes, thanks a lot. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Minister, I watched you yesterday launching the ITER. Wonderful, Minister. Minister, this is the indication of the transformation project we started in 1994 throughout all the past administration to eradicate the legacy of the racist regime. It is gradually picking up, and we really congratulate you for that. And Minister, in the follow-up question, I would say, Minister, the Home Affairs mobile units, which is critically important, especially for the people living in the far-flung rural areas. My follow-up question is that how mandatory and regular is this service, are these services to the rural communities across the country, and whether the department consider partnership with traditional leaders, district, local municipalities, and other sector departments like sports, arts, and culture to use their infrastructure as service points for Home Affairs as part of making Home Affairs services accessible to the rural communities. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Phala. Honorable Minister, over to you.
Thank you, Chair, and to the Honorable Phala for the follow-up. That work is an ongoing project. So there are about 210 mobile units that are used across the country, and we really rely on, exactly as you've said, local councillors, local municipalities, local traditional leadership, civic organizations. Every day we work with them to identify communities in need, and as you say, particularly underserved communities, people with disabilities, old age homes, people in rural areas. This is really the bread and butter of the work that is done by the mobile units. So indeed, the member is correct to identify that role of partnership. I think the apologies. The embrace of expanding access is really something very close to our hearts, and the mobile units assist us with that. But we've also now seen recently that one of our partners in this digital partnership with the banking sector, they've actually now rolled out mobile units from the bank side, which is going out and also assisting with the access to smart ID cards. So I think we are seeing those 440 bank branches, the 210 mobile units, and now even private sector innovation that's also becoming more mobile, all working together towards this shared goal that we all have as South Africans, which is to make sure that all people are actually included in having access to something like an identity document. So I can confirm to the honourable member that the role of partnership, the engagement with stakeholders, he's absolutely right to point that out, and it is something that we take very seriously and will continue to pursue. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for the response. We'll now go take a supplementary question from Honourable Boshoff. Honourable Boshoff, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair, and good afternoon to you and to the Minister. Minister, you have answered my follow-up question. However, allow me to commend you and your department for not being derailed by the ANC's municipality's failure to provide the necessary services, and that you stepped in to ensure that operations could continue. It is equally encouraging that you are also looking at relocating to more secure premises to ensure greater stability and continuity going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Over to you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chair. I think more of a comment there, and really appreciate it. But just to emphasize that I was recently in Centurion, where people have had very bad experiences with the previous office, and in that case, it was more where it was located and some of the issues outside of the office, and we were able to transition it into the better environment that exists in the Centurion Mall. And so this is an ongoing project. It's really working across the country, and that's exactly the same way that we will solve it in this particular community. But indeed, it is something that we are working on mitigating. But I really must emphasize, Chair, that if we had working local government there and many other places where there was electricity, then this whole issue would not arise in such a manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. We'll then go to Honourable Nowe from the African National Congress. Your supplementary question, Honourable Nowe.
Thank you, Chair of the session. I'm sure you can see me. I can switch off.
You are very clear and handsome, Honourable.
As always. Chair, Minister, I just want to warn you against the praise singers who are always having something to say in relation with the ANC when we deal with government work. Just do your government work without being influenced by praise singers. We see what you are doing, and as a collective South Africans, we are all expected to do our bit. And in this instance, you have already answered my question because I was going to emphasize the issue of electricity. But we have covered it very well. But as a patriotic citizen too, and as a minister entrusted with resources, I was going to put you on the spot to say, in order to avoid people being returned when they have already come for services, as we understand the rural areas conditions or situation where electricity might go off. Do you have perhaps already working on something for backup other than the mobile units so that when systems are already running, they don't have to break down because of the power outages? Because that will be then focusing on your continuous effort to make sure that South Africans get these services without whether you are wearing a cap of DA or ANC. That is immaterial. And I say again, don't be derailed by praising us. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Noe. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps on a lighter note, it's important to not be derailed by praise singers or critics. So I think we take the point. If I could just really respond by also indicating that we have made significant investments in what Honorable Noe is referring to as backup solutions. It's really unfortunate, but even when it comes to the electricity stability of where some of our headquarters are located. We've done a lot of work to get your UPSs and your inverters and power supply stabilized in many of our big systems. And I think that has really contributed to the 61% decrease that we've seen in hours lost to system offline issues. So to just give the member the comfort that this is something wherever we can, we do try to find that backup solution. And in many cases, we have generators as well that operate with the mobile units, and that also assists. But I think, Chair, probably this question in my mind really concludes with something that we probably all agree on, which is that we end up spending money on backup solutions like generators and UPSs and batteries and power supplies, which we could have invested elsewhere if we had the basics working. And I think that is the message that we can all probably say we have to get right in South Africa, and that lies with local government. And in the interim, from Home Affairs, we continue to do whatever we can to mitigate given our own capacity constraints. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And that concludes the question 144. We'll now proceed to question 147, which has been asked by Honorable van den Beek. Over to you, Honorable Minister. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I think this question from the Honorable Member is very well timed in the context of the launch yesterday. So I think the launch we did of the electronic travel authorization, as well as the enhanced movement control system 2.0, those are exactly the things that the member is asking about. And obviously this was submitted a while ago already, but I think I will use the opportunity to just give a rundown of what we launched yesterday. So effectively, Chair and honorable members, what we have in place now through the ETA is for the very first time that end-to-end digital application and adjudication process, which is based on biometric verification and machine learning technology. So the 4 countries that we originally onboarded in October of last year have already produced 216,000 applications through the ETA, as well as over 6,100 rejections, which is based on this new capability that we now have working end to end. So effectively, travelers from those 4 countries can go onto the ETA platform, eta.dha.gov.za. They register a profile there. We verify their cell phone number and their email address through the OTP system that we're all familiar with. The traveler then uploads a scan of their passport, they upload a selfie. We use biometrics to match the photos and the selfie together so that we know that passport belongs to that traveler. And then we have risk assessment tools in the background that can verify that the passport is authentic. It can check certain international databases and run risk analytics on that traveler. And within 24 hours, they will get the visa outcome, which they can store in their digital phone wallet if they qualify. And of course, if they don't, then we are able to reject them. And that's where that 6,100 already came from. And I would say that the capability to detect a fraudulent passport, for example, is one that never existed before under a manual system. And that's what the ETA has already brought to the table. So in terms of where we are now, it is the ETA now incorporates a payment portal. We are just finalizing the public comments that we've received on the fee that will be associated with the use of the ETA. We've also built the extension module now, where a legitimate traveler can apply for an extension in terms of the Immigration Act. And we have deployed the departure module, which is very important because that is now when you leave the country, we again verify your face. And that gives us the capability to know whether you've overstayed your visa. We now have the ability to contact you directly if we see that you are approaching the expiry date of your visa. For the first time, foreigners in South Africa will know that Home Affairs knows. We are watching and we know if you are at risk of overstaying, and we can then take enforcement action based on this new capabilities we have. The electronic movement control system has now been rolled out to the 4 international airports. And really over the next phase, over the coming weeks, we will be adding many more countries to the ETA for tourist visas. And then we will begin the process of adding other visa categories in. So your study visa, your work visa, your more complex visas will all run through this new modern platform. And we will extend over the next few months the EMCS 2.0 facial verification technology to all of our ports of entry, which is going to be really a game changer for us. I think in terms of the remaining 2 questions, Chair, we continue to engage with SAPS on the functions issue with the BMA. The last discussion we had was to say that SAPS must help support the BMA's case for additional funding so that we can employ more border guards for the BMA. And that is something we have managed to agree on. And I think finally, in terms of the statistics, I can indicate the BMA since its inception in 2023 until the 31st of March this year has intercepted and arrested 542,684 undocumented, undesirable, and inadmissible migrants. We've run, I think that particular statistic of over 500,000 does demonstrate the impact that the BMA.
Honorable Minister, we are losing you.
Apologies,
Honorable
Chair.
Minister, yes,
Apologies.
towards the end of your response, we are losing you.
Okay. Perhaps just to reiterate that the figure that the honourable member was asking for is 542,684 undocumented, undesirable, and inadmissible migrants that the BMA has deterred since it was established. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the response. I will now invite Honorable van der Beek to pose your follow-up question, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable van der Beek.
Yes, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, you are very clear, very audible.
Wonderful. Minister, you are probably aware of the fact that the Freedom Front Plus has consistently been calling for extra funding for the BMA. Now, I would like to know, when will the BMA finally exercise exclusive operational command over border law enforcement as contemplated in the Act? And what specific additional funding has National Treasury committed for the Northern Cape and other high-risk provinces to make this a real solution for all the provinces and all the land entrance and exit points. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable van der Berg. Honorable Minister, your response.
Thank you, Chair. In the most recent budget, there was a baseline increase of about 330 million rand to the BMA. Of course, we appreciate that, but that is still not enough, and that would be for the work done in all provinces. To the honourable member's question, the BMA currently has about 600 border guards in its employ. That is in addition to all of the immigration officials, the port health, the port agriculture, etc., which is clearly not enough. And that is where we will continue to make the case. And we do appreciate everyone who joins us in making this case for additional funding. I will always point out, honourable members, that it is ultimately Parliament that approves the budget. And so as much as it is an issue that members of Parliament raise, there is also a responsibility for Parliament and for members in the budget making process to raise critical issues such as this one. And so it is really a shared responsibility, but I can certainly commit once again to the continued work that we are doing to get across the urgent need for this investment in the BMA, but also that it is a good investment for South Africa because of the economic benefits that will flow directly from dealing with things like illicit trade and in the process increasing tax revenues, etc. So I think that is really the key issue. And it is so I think it's important to point out to the Honourable Member, Chair, that the BMA has integrated a huge number of functions successfully already. I mentioned health, I mentioned agriculture. So a lot of that work has been done. But I think for as long as we're sitting with under-resourcing and a lack of boots on the ground, we will continue to face the issue where we have to work together with other agencies to actually physically man the borderline. And I think perhaps just to conclude by saying that the IMC on migration is also seized with this issue, particularly as it relates to the borderline and the fence and the infrastructure. And that is work that the Department of Defence is now leading in a formal capacity, and where we certainly also support the collaborative effort to invest in border security. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. I will then invite honourable members who's got a supplementary questions. Honourable Nonkonyane, I'll start with you. Honourable Nonkonyane from the African National Congress, you are invited to present your supplementary question.
Madam Chair, congratulations. Honourable Minister, allow me first to congratulate the Border Management Authority and law enforcement agencies for the recent successful breakthrough in pushing back against the illegal entry and drug trafficking at our various ports of entry with limited resources. As a relatively new institution, BMA continues to inspire hope about the better future in relation to our border management. My two interrelated follow-up questions are: one, what are the key milestones that the department has set for itself to position it into a world-class border management authority? And secondly, what is the current deficits in terms of the financial, technological, and human resources capabilities? And thirdly, the plan of the department in addressing these challenges. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Phala. We'll now give over to you, the Minister. It seems we have lost the Minister.
Chair, I think the response to the first part of the Chair, I've just switched off my video.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Chair. I think in relation to the milestones that the member is asking about, I think an obvious one would be to complete the scale-up of the ETA. That will be a major milestone for the BMA's capability and creating that world-class institution that the honourable member refers to. The capacity shortfall is about 75%, if I have to put a figure on it. And the response to that is twofold. It is, of course, to continue to make the case why an investment in the BMA is a good investment for South Africa. And as I said, in the budget making process, Parliament has an important role to play. But I think secondly, also very important that we are not saying that we don't have resources, so there's nothing we can do. We are pushing ourselves to the limit in terms of delivering within the constraints that we face. And I think, again, that is where technology is such a critical enabler for us to actually make up for resource shortfalls by doing things differently and by doing things more efficiently. So I would say that those are some of the key interventions to address the shortfall. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Your camera was still off. However, I've noticed that you might be in a situation where the network is a little bit poor. Hence, I did not want to disturb you. I will then invite Honorable Billy from the DA to present your supplementary question. Honorable Member, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Maybe let me join my good colleague, the Honorable Nokonyana, and congratulate the Minister and his department for the exceptional work that they are doing. And I'm glad that there is finally concession that what is happening in the department is extremely extraordinary, and it is something that needs to be welcomed by all of us. Minister, after years of fragmented and largely manual border control under the ANC government in the past, what measurable difference are drones, biometrics, and the ETA making to enforcement? And when will all ports of entry be fully electronically integrated? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Billy. On a lighter note, I thought you will also congratulate me for chairing this session. Now I can see you've got your personal vendetta against me. Thank you very much. It was on a lighter note. Honorable Minister, you are invited to respond.
Chair, let me give the camera another shot, and in order to protect myself, allow me to congratulate you as well formally. Chair, to indicate in response that the end state that we are looking for is, of course, at the end of this administration to do what the honourable member suggests, that we have that fully end-to-end digitalized platform for all kinds of immigration functions in South Africa. So we've started now with, let's say, your simpler applications like a tourist visa, but we will be working up that chain of complexity to make sure that we actually deliver that end-to-end solution. Of course, the member mentions the role of drones and body cameras and other technology. The more we can invest in those, the better. But obviously, as I said earlier, we are determined to acknowledge the resource constraints that we face, but to then maximize what we can do within the context of those constraints. So I almost want to say that sometimes your perspective can be very empowering, and you can say that having constraints can be an enabler if you have the right mindset, because it forces you to actually do more. And that's the approach we've taken, rather than viewing it as something that disables us or makes us despondent. So we believe that end state we are looking for by the end of this administration is indeed achievable. And the fact that we got yesterday, as I said, we've gotten from 0 to 1 on the ETA. I think it's really encouraging. And the event there with the president, with myself, with the deputy minister and other colleagues, I think has really inspired all of us to push even harder and make sure we reach that target. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. I will now invite Honorable Gerik from the EFF to pose your question, Honorable Member. In a situation,
Thank you,
Honorable.
Chairperson.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
Minister, border security is a very important issue at the moment, because in some instances there's no border lines, no fencing, no nothing, and people are entering the country as and when they like to. And it has fueled and still fueling civil unrest in our country. But you are respectfully wasting time on digital visas for your corporate clients and elites instead of enforcing border security. Now, the Border Management Agency has done exceptional work in clamping down on illicit goods and illegal drug peddling. And this agency is much needed for border control. And there are, however, consistent complaints that the BMA is too limited in terms of human resources, capacity, logistics, and financial resources. What are your plans to expand the BMA and employ more personnel to secure our borders and border control? And what are the timelines to expand the BMA? And what percentage of manpower do you still need? Or how many people do you still need to cover all our borders? Since our borders are porous, I repeat again, no border lines, people are walking in and out of this country, and we're sitting with a problem. Thank you, Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gerike, for your question. Honorable Minister, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm afraid part of the problem comes when we have irresponsible political leaders like the leader of the EFF who once invited people to come into South Africa illegally. And that is something we must reject outright. And where we have issues, we must address them, including at the borderline. But we cannot have that being exploited.
Chairperson, point of order.
Minister, Honorable Minister, just a sec. Honorable Gerike, what is your point of order?
Chair, I rise on a point of order because the minister is misleading the House. The leader of the EFF has never said that people must come into this country illegally. We are actually advocating for people to be documented before they enter the country. So the minister must not mislead the House. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Can I proceed, Chair?
Yes, you may proceed. However, Honorable Minister, please, let's not cast aspersion on other members, please.
All right, Chair. Let me indicate that, as I said earlier, the shortfall is about 75%. So we still have a very long way to go to be able to adequately resource this critical institution. And as I mentioned earlier, the issue of the borderline itself is something where the IMC has delegated defense to really zoom in on this. And we were all recently there from the IMC. I've made multiple trips, and that is really such a big challenge. I think the work that we are doing in the redevelopment of our busiest land ports of entry, the introduction of the ETA and this incredibly powerful and transformational new technology can be so much enhanced if we have the investment that we do so desperately need in the borderline infrastructure and the fencing, etc. So I am in full support of that work, and it is a matter that defense is really seized with through the work of the IMC. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We'll now proceed to the next question on the question paper, which is question number 152. It's a question that has been sponsored by Honorable Noe. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think this question is really about weekend services. Just to indicate, over the recent second registration weekend, we did do exactly that. We had extended office hours over that weekend, and we also did that for the first registration weekend. So wherever we are able to, we do attempt to extend the hours that people can use these services. I think what is important to also add is that the department has, of course, implemented this multi-channel delivery strategy to expand access to services with a specific focus on underserved and rural communities. I think the digital partnership with the banking sector is exemplary in this regard, because you will often find that these branches are open on weekends. And in that manner, we've actually indirectly extended the hours during which people can obtain the Smart ID replacement service at these 440 locations across the country. And I perhaps also just to indicate again to members that we will be adding first-time Smart ID applications, passport applications, as well as the option for home delivery to this system before the end of the year, which is really quite an extraordinary transformation. Additionally, it's worth emphasizing where many of these locations are that are benefiting from these extended hours and enhanced footprint. The first one we launched was in Orange Farm. The second one was at the Maponya Mall. And since then, we've had, as I say, now 440 locations, and they're growing every week, including areas like Eldorado Park, Lenasia, Botshabelo, Tembisa, Mlondo, Everton. We've got Mamelodi, Soshanguve, Kailicha, Kwamashu. We've got Jabulani, and so many other areas that have now received access, including over weekends, to these services. This is also in addition to state-of-the-art offices that have been opened in places like Lusikisiki. The department, however, having said all of this, the main offices do not generally operate on weekends, but we do have those outreach services as and when required, such as we recently saw with the registration weekend. So, Chair, in a nutshell, from the department side, wherever we are able to, we do try and extend services. But this is, again, one of the great benefits of these 440 new locations, because almost all of them are open at least partly on weekends as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your response. Honourable Noe.
Chair, allow me not to show my face now. Very briefly,
Honourable Member.
It should be like we are laboring this issue. Whilst we acknowledge the positive impact of Home Affairs digital platforms for bookings, for application of IDs and other relevant documents, and the partnerships with the commercial banks to roll out Home Affairs services to people. The truth is that this continues to exclude many people in far-flung rural areas. Now, my follow-up question is twofold. First, whether the department has considered introducing the shift system in consultation with the organized labor so that the staff is allowed to make weekend shifts in the rural areas to provide Home Affairs services, especially on Saturday. Current
Oh, Honourable Noe, we are missing you. Can you get a better position, Honourable Noe? I'm not sure if the first question, Honourable Minister. Sorry, Honourable Noe, we did not capture your question. We were unable to capture your question actually.
Can you hear me now?
You sound better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you sound
Better
better.
now.
You may proceed. Yeah, you can proceed, Honourable.
Okay. Excuse my sound outside. I'm at the airport now. Minister, I was just saying we are not laboring this issue. My question is still in relation with the digital platforms for bookings, for application of IDs and other relevant documents, and the partnerships with the commercial banks to roll out Home Affairs services to our people. The truth is that this continues to exclude many people in far-flung rural areas. So my follow-up question is in twofold. Firstly, whether the department has considered introducing the shift system in consultation with the organized labor so that the staff is allowed to work weekend shift in the rural areas to provide Home Affairs services, especially on Saturdays. Secondly, if this is to be done, what will be the financial implication to the department in terms of the current budget? Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Noe. I hope, Honorable Minister, you managed to capture what the question. Because on my side, I was struggling to hear what Honorable Noe is saying. However, I've noted that his question is on introduction of shift system in to cover the rural areas, whether there has been any consultation with the organized labor, and also the financial implication of the extra hours that might be that the department might experience while your staff is servicing the rural areas.
Thank you, Chair. Really, I think in short, the honourable member answers his own question to some extent, because we mustn't forget the extent of underfunding that also affects the Department of Home Affairs itself. It's not the BMA only. And I would be hesitant to make a promise that we can't keep at this point. So I think in order for something to be viable really at scale, where we are able to extend these hours in the manner that the member proposes, it would really be unfunded as we currently have the budget before us. So I think it is something we will continue to endeavor to do as often as possible. We try to do it over certain peak periods for school learners, for example, in addition to key registration weekends and other such events. But it does become a resource challenge. And what I think we would not want to do, Chair, is to actually end up stretching ourselves so thin that we're not able to properly service members of the community just because we don't have enough staff to actually do this on a sustainable basis. So it's something that I will certainly keep in mind. I think the principle is sound, and we will continue to do it in any affordable manner that we can. But I would not want to sort of go into an environment where we're not actually able to deliver it until we have that adequate funding. It would obviously require. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for the response. Let me invite Honorable Duplessis with your supplementary question. Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honourable Minister, thank you very much for the unit in Lenasia and surrounds. People from Lahahi and Protea South and Lenasia have thanked me quite a bit for making it easier for them to do this. My question has been answered to a great extent, as well as the comment links into the answer. However, it deserves additional mention and information. After 30 years in which the ANC left rural residents travelling long distances and queuing at too few offices, how are weekend outreach services, mobile units, and the new digital banking partnership now reversing this historic exclusion?
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister.
No, thank you, Chair. I think what we've done in the last 5 months has actually expanded access to Home Affairs services, particularly to the Smart ID replacement service. I think probably now by over 300%, which is an extraordinary thing if you think about it. There were 214 permanent Home Affairs offices where South Africans could obtain a replacement Smart ID. And we've now added 440 locations to that, which takes it close to 700 in total. And that is in a matter of 5 months since we launched the first one. Our intention is to enhance access to this service by 5 times by the end of this year, because we are targeting 750 bank branches alongside the existing offices. So I think it gives you a sense of the really exciting scale at which and urgent once we are able to add those additional and even your home delivery option is services. And that's before we even get to the introduction of digital credentials, which in many cases will eliminate the need for the user to actually go to any physical location because it can exist digitally as well. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. I will then invite Honorable Machobeni from the EFF, your supplementary question, Honorable Member.
Oh, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Let me acknowledge your response, Honorable Minister. I'm partly covered by Honorable Norway concerning the services to be offered and the budget and the staffing implications. I thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Machovini does not have a question. He is covered. I will then invite Honorable Zulu from the MKP to present your supplementary question. Honorable Zulu, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the session, Honorable Metupe. Greetings once again, Minister for Home Affairs. Minister, with weekend outreach services and the bank partnerships expanding access, what additional internal control and anti-corruption measures has the department put in place to prevent fraud, document selling, and bribery at these satellite and offsite points? Minister, because without safeguards, we risk taking corruption from the office to the community. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister and Honorable Chairperson of the session.
Thank you very much, Honorable Zulu. Honorable Minister, over to you. However, the question has been responded to earlier on, but it is at the liberty of the Minister to respond to the question again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and to the Honorable Member. I think just to briefly, I suppose, emphasize that the security measures, the closing of loopholes for corruption and fraud is the foundation of this project. And the key measure is that there is no space whatsoever for any official or for any person to manipulate the outcome or the application itself. That has now all been moved into the biometric environment, which entirely depends on the person who is putting their fingerprint and who is using their face to verify their identity. So that is the single most, I think, important security and anti-corruption measure you can actually imagine in this space, because as the SIU report has shown us, this is really the manual system, the paperwork, the manipulation that we have seen over many years, really creating the kind of problems that the Honourable Member describes. So indeed, this work is not complete. It is work. It is a principle that we must expand to passports. It is a principle that we must expand to all of our Home Affairs products, that we remove the capability for any individual to have a say in a particular outcome, because ultimately it is the record we have on the population register that determines whether the outcome is approved or not. And I think that is really the gold standard for security and anti-corruption in this environment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. As we concluded the last question, that was the last question. I just want to take this opportunity, honourable members, our delegates. I would like to thank the Minister, permanent delegates, MECs, Deputy Minister, and all special delegates and SALGA representative for availing yourself for this sitting. I would also want to conclude the business of the day and the House stand agenda. Thank you very much, honourable members.
Thank you, Chair.
Well done,
Chair.